everybody, welcome to or back to my channel. I'm so excited to film today's video. It's going to be video 2 in my Styling 101 series on this channel. The first one I kind of talked about, you know, my background, how I got into everything. It's like a big Q&A about styling in the fashion industry and all of that. So I'll put that video here and link it in the description if you haven't watched that. It's a long one, but it gives a little bit more background and my work experience and all of that. But today we're going to be talking about all things styling kit, styling little utility belt, everything that you need, the basics ideally, but then I'm going to go into like whatever random things that I love that have helped me out, that are kind of like bonus stuff that's really ideal to have if you are a stylist, an aspiring stylist, doing freelance work, doing full-time work, an in-house stylist, the wardrobe stylist, styling assist, all the things. I'm going to share everything that in my opinion and in my experience I think you need, and that will make your life a lot easier as a stylist. So these are all my favorite things, everything that I keep in both my styling belts and my styling kit. As you guys know, if you've watched any of my styling videos or seen like BTS photos on my Instagram of me styling, I'm always wearing my little styling utility belt. I have her right here. I got it off Depop. This is like a mini wearable keep on your person styling kit, whereas this guy right here is like the main Hujongo kit where everything else lives. Depending on the shoot or the project, I have like multiple totes, few suitcases, and my Hulkin as additional bags. But that we'll talk about later. I want to talk about what I keep in both, everything that you need, a good classic starter kit, and then I'll kind of talk about like the things that are like, you don't necessarily need this, but I would recommend it for XYZ. I do feel the need to make a disclaimer that obviously I'm not an expert. I'm definitely still like an up-and-coming stylist that's learning and figuring it all out. I do key styling work, I do assistant styling work, wardrobe assisting. There's a range of roles that I'm playing on different sets and projects and things like that, but no matter what, I'm bringing most of these things. I'm not claiming to know everything. I know a lot of people keep kind of like a on your person utility belt of sorts. Getting a vintage one's really fun. So that's not, again, also something that I've like invented or anything like that. These are all things people are doing. For me, when I first started styling, this was not a resource. Hopefully this is informative and helps you guys if you are an aspiring stylist, or maybe you find it interesting. Also, these are things that are helpful to have in your own personal wardrobe, and just some fun like fashion hacks, styling hacks. A lot of you guys have reached out and messaged me and told me that you are an aspiring stylist, up and coming stylist, or just like a very established stylist, whatever it is. It's incredible, and I think this would be a fun video to share with you all. I haven't done a styling 101 kind of video in a bit. I've learned what I need and these tips and tricks and all these things through stylists that I've assisted, hair, makeup artists that I've been on set with. Models have taught me a lot about boob lift techniques and like different just tips and tricks that I would not have known without being on set and interacting with these people. Just constantly learning from people, and I'm so grateful for that. One of the best parts of my job is that I get to constantly work with new and different people, and again, like I said, learn from them, learn what to do, learn what not to do. The more things you encounter, you just like learn, and you're like, I will never leave the house and go to set without blank. Like, it all adds up. Everything that I mentioned will be linked in the description. Again, it's all like ranging brands. I'll do the best I can to find the exact brands that I use. A lot of this is general. A lot of it you can get at Staples, Home Depot, a general store. Like these things are found kind of trickled throughout. Let's dig right in. I'm thinking we will do the kit first, and then I can show you my styling belt because it's kind of like a mini version of the big kit and just things I like to have on my body super quick. But again, the kit goes crossbody, it goes over the shoulder, so you can always have that on your person as well. It's just quite heavy and a little bit clunky, so I like to have my belt where I could just pop in, tape, pin, do a little do. Let's get into the styling kit essentials. The first item, and the very obvious item that you will need and that you will be spending loads and loads of time with, is a steamer. This is a hand steamer. It's a very like dinky little chill hand steamer. I use this almost every day in my room for my own outfits. I think having a hand steamer is so key just as a 20-something-year-old going about life. This is a Conair hand steamer. I will link this in the description. I got it from Target. I also have one where there's like more of like a trigger that you pull, and I'll put a picture here. I have this one as well, but it's in my basement. It's a little bit bigger and I like it. This one I just keep up here because it's easy peasy. I bring this to shoots. Even if there is an industrial steamer, I just bring my own small hand steamer just in case. I really do bring this guy everywhere I go. And a little tip too, especially like in your room where you keep your steamer. Also on set, which is really nice, you don't have to keep running back and forth, is bringing a water bottle or a water jug. I just have a refillable, like Say Beauty little water bottle that I keep next to this steamer, because obviously you fill it up with water, and when it runs out, having to run back and forth to get water, it's just nice to have a bottle of water where you can refill it right where you are prepping the clothes. You can also bring like a big water bottle, like those huge ones people bring to like work out. That would honestly be very helpful to bring on set, because you just have a jug of water with you to fill up the steamer as you please. It's not that big of a deal to just go bring the water jug and refill it, but it's sometimes nice to just have it right there. So steamer is huge. Obviously the best is going to be an industrial steamer. Typically, you know, if you're working on a bigger production and the production team is providing things that you need on set, you will tell them kind of ahead of time, this is how many racks I need, this is how many steamers I need, la-di-da. They would provide that, and industrial steamers are simply the best. They're fantastic. If I had a studio and space, I would 100% invest in one and have one here. Simply no room. So this I would describe as like a handheld steamer. Then there's also like portable travel steamers that are pretty tiny that you could bring in like a suitcase and stuff. Those are also super helpful, though they do break very frequently. I don't have a recommendation. I did have one and it broke on me, so I'm in the market to buy a new like travel portable steamer. When it comes to whatever project you're working on, if you're renting a studio yourself, if you're working with a production team, or say you're just doing it at your apartment, whatever it is, ideally you'd have a rack or multiple racks. I have a rack here. I bought it at Target. I'll link the exact one that I bought. I keep it under my dresser. Didn't feel the need to get it out and hold up the parts for you guys, but it's really helpful to have. I have fittings at my apartment. Again, I don't have a studio. Having an extra rack totally empty and you can put all the looks there is really ideal. And obviously when you're doing a shoot, you need a rack, you need multiple racks. Thankfully, a lot of the projects I've been on, people supply the racks. When I'm working with brands, they clear racks for me, whatever it is. That's always great. But if you're doing a lot of personal work and you know your apartment is your studio, or you have a studio, you're obviously gonna need some racks. So that's just an obvious, but wanted to mention, felt like I had to mention. Little what's in my styling kit, what's in my bag. Before I get into this, I'll talk about like the actual physical bag, because there's a lot of routes you can take. I know some people just use a big ass suitcase. Really love this huge clear guy. Not the cutest, and that's okay. I know a lot of makeup and hair artists use the same bag. It's good for makeup, it's good for hair, it's good for a lot of things. There's a ton of compartments. Again, like I said, it's clear, you can see where everything is. There's these little hand handles, kind of like shoulder bag, or you can obviously extend it and make it crossbody. I got this bag off of Amazon. I'm sure you can find them a lot of different places. And this is her. As you can see, there are all these pockets, and then there's like 2 zip pockets on the inside and then like a bigger compartment. So I tried to do each like little pocket section with kind of like a theme, whether it's like stains and cleaning products, or it's like sewing, hemming, cutting, undergarment stuff, nipple covers, all of that, sticky tape. I tried to kind of section them off. Sorry if the lighting changed, my camera just glitched. One thing that you will obviously need as a stylist are clips. Sometimes you're pulling pieces and they don't ideally fit. Sometimes you don't have time to do a fitting prior to the shoot and things end up fitting differently than intended. You got to use clips. I have a range of clips that I enjoy, and I think I've learned throughout my years of styling and now being like fully freelance styling that the clamp clip is my favorite clip. I love these big ones. These ones are gonna make sure you get that like snatch, and this does not fall off. You're snatching corsets with these, doing the damn thing. These little clamps are super great too, especially when, you know, you're working with more delicate fabric. You don't really want to use a huge clamp. So then we have, you know, the binder clip. These ones are good. I find when you're doing like a snatch though, these don't hold the fabric as tight as like this would. So I love a clamp clip. These are great. I keep these clamped to the outside of my bag right here. I keep them clamped on my styling belt as well. Ideally, they're easily accessible. The black binder clip, as we probably know from school, comes in a range of sizes. So I have like the tiny small ones, the medium size, the big ones. You never know what you're gonna need, so it's nice to have all the sizes there. So those are my clips. Obviously, you're going to need pins and safety pins and all of that. A zip pocket in my styling belt that you will see eventually, full of safety pins, and that's primarily where I access them. But in the big compartment of my styling kit, there's also push pins at the bottom of this now. This was brought to the Tyler show, and we like, these pins were everywhere, so I don't even know what pins I have in here at this point, which is why I have so many safety pins in the styling kit that I keep under my bed of all my extras. There's supposedly a range of size of safety pins. There's a good amount in here still. Obviously, you're gonna lose pins like crazy on set and things like that, so Just always having backup is really great. I try to keep track of my pins as best I can, especially when you're taking the pins out. But again, they're so tiny. This box is just the huge ones. These are really great. I just have a big old box of them. Another thing that I have, I took all the pins out of it just so nothing falls. This is a pin cushion. These things are the best. I learned of these because my mom has a ton of pin cushions around the house. It's just so you have pins at the ready on your wrist, on your body, which is super nice. When I work with designers and we're doing fittings and all of that, like when I was working with Tyler and we were making alterations to all the looks, it was really nice for me to have this on whenever she would need it. I had her wear it at one point. Really, really useful, really helpful, and they're really cute. My mom has a little tomato one and it's adorable. I'll just move right on over next to the clips. That little pocket is going to have my little rack dividers, the little marker that came with them. I have a ton of these, and this is a like whiteboard marker, so it wipes off. These rack dividers are rack donuts. They're super helpful for separating looks, especially when you have a lot of looks. They were super huge for the Tyler show. We had 31 looks. You're doing the shoes and the bags and the accessories, and everything is on the rack. It's a lot, so having something that divides everything, and then, you know, for runway, you would ideally have dressers come in to help out, and sometimes they're not familiar with the looks at all. So have that really organized and spelled out for everybody is ideal. I don't mind the whiteboard marker. It doesn't seem to like wipe off on any of the garments or like cause any issues. They've lasted me. I've used them for so many jobs, and I just always just wipe them down after the end of the day. Also, when you're on the topic of rack dividers and things like that, I really like to use those like lamination sheets, print out the look and put that on the rack divider, so you know there's like an image of each look kind of deal. Obviously everybody's gonna do that differently with their printouts and their deck and whatever that looks like, but I really like those lamination sheets that you put pieces of paper in so that it protects the paper and nothing's ripping. So those are ideal. And then the last thing, because I don't have them on me because they're at Tyler's studio, these like drawstring clear bags. These I've used for almost every runway show that I've either styled or assisted on or been wardrobe on. That's typically where we put accessories and sometimes shoes, but not always. So you have one corresponding clear bag. Again, clear, you could see through it with each garment bag. If we want to mention quickly, I have about 40 of these right below me. Have yet to figure out how to organize them in my apartment, where to put them. Your standard black garment bag. I like the ones where you can see through, so ideally, you know, you see what's in them. And then right here is where you can put a little label, which is really, really nice. Garment bags are not something that can physically fit in here, and they're also something that I grab depending on the job, once I know the job and the logistics and all of that, but I will keep these in my bag. And these are garment bag labels. This is where I'll write look one, put all the details in, the address, all that jazz. We have clips, labels. Then we have our little cleaning supply section. Right when I open it up, I have my little shout wipes. These are ideal. They're great. Usually nothing is getting on the garments, but just in case, if people's hands are dirty and they're about to touch the garment, these are really fabulous. These are the brand Ella and Mila, but there are a bunch of different brands. These are nail polish remover wipes. You guys, if I had a nickel for every time, you know, you send out to models, please come with bare nails, all that. People forget. It's fine. They're human. But the chipped black toenail polish, when you're doing like a Manolo heel, it's just not a cute look. So nail polish wipes, and I prefer them to carrying around a little bottle of toenail polish just because, you know, that can spill and get everywhere, but that's totally fine. There's like travel size little nail polish remover and cotton balls, so you can easily bring that. But the wipes are just kind of like easy, quick, and the amount of times I've just kind of been bent down by the heel and I'm like, oh, do you mind if I just get this little speck of nail polish? And they're like, yeah. So I just get in there with the wipe, and it's not like a whole ordeal, so it makes it easier. I have my little lint rollers. I have big ones in the big section of my styling kit, but the little ones are really great. I keep one of these in my styling belt. Wrinkle release. You guys, I was raised on Downy wrinkle release, and it really works. Hide to go pen, we love her, we know her. Another stain remover product that doesn't fit in the little pocket, but I keep in the big section, is Amidex. Somebody told me about this, I forget who, but they were like, this stuff is the best, and it's ink and stain remover, and you just rub this into stains and it's a miracle worker. So this stuff is bomb. I keep this in my bag for emergencies, but ideally we don't have emergencies in this house. The other kind of like stain related item, deodorant sponge. Oh my god, I think it's just a little Mr. Clean sponge. I know there are a bunch of like dedicated deodorant sponges out there that are probably a little bit more pricey than this. Just your average Mr. Clean. These work lovely to get deodorant stains out. I do my best obviously to have my models wipe off their deodorant prior to putting on the garments, and then I will bring, or we'll have on set, a little spray on deodorant situation so that they put deodorant back on but it's not getting on the clothing when they're changing. And I use these all the time in my personal life too. So that is these 3 front pockets. Then if we're flipping her around, number 1 most used item in addition to a steamer is going to be double-sided fashion tape. I sweat this stuff at this point. These 2 are different. I use these little strips like it's no one's business. This is the brand Uplift Secrets. Who knows? Holding straps up, taping jewelry down, concealing, draping, tacking things down, emphasizing things. This tape does everything. This, I do not want to be mistaken as the boob tape. There's so much more that comes into play when we talk about boob tape, and I will get into that. I'll be working on a project and have a whole brand new pack, and then by the end, they're all gone. I don't know how they just disappear, but it happens. That's what happened at the Tyler show. It was like a whirlwind. Put these on the bottom of so many pairs of shoes to help stick the foot down to the shoe. It was just a circus. This tape does not lift the sole or pick up any of like the leather on the sole of heels, which is really, really nice to know. I've had issues with other tape doing that, so this tape in particular is really great. Obviously, Hollywood Fashion Secrets, this brand makes a ton of different wardrobe accessories to help, you know, shape, nipple covers, deodorant wipes. This pack in particular I really like. They have the skinny double-sided fashion tape that I just showed you guys. They also have the curved kind of rounded ones. They have 6 wider ones and then 4 trapezoids. That is what you'll get. I've gone through so many of these, it's crazy. The middle pocket, it's kind of like miscellaneous a little bit. Keep a bunch of Sharpies. There's a little one with like a keychain attachment, which is really nice. I keep these little hair clips to help. Hair artists always have these, and I think it's good to have some of my own if we're putting on a garment prior or after, whatever it is. And I have fabric fusion, which is really nice to have on hand. And then the most random of them all is my headlamp. I used it at the Ben Doctor show because our back of house was so dark. To make the runway successful, just had to be pitch black. So when I was doing last looks, I did indeed have the headlamp on. This is super great to have. I never know when I'm gonna need this. Last little pocket right here. This is all things feet. 2 pairs of nylons, just white and black. Toe pad, ankle pad, foot pad galore in here. These things are the best, and boy do I use them a ton. These go behind the ankle to pad the shoes, to make the shoes more comfortable. If the shoes are fitting too big, it's to pad them to hopefully make them finally fit the shoe. I've stuffed these in the toes of shoes before. These are like toe pads to make that more comfortable and less slippery. When it comes to the bottom of shoes, that is a whole predicament in and of itself. Basically, yeah, you have to return them, keep the bottoms absolutely pristine. I'm always transparent with the brand that, again, the model will be walking XYZ amount on the shoe. I'm going to tape the soles, whatever it is. If it's buy and return, I normally never do that. When I was assisting, we do buy and return projects, and I'm going to Zara, buying heels, taping the bottom, and then untaping the bottom, going back and returning them. I try to avoid doing buy and return as much as I possibly can. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Shoe tape is your best friend. Also, just taping the shoe to protect the sole, whether or not you're returning them, whether or not it's a pull. I work with vintage shoes a lot, and maintaining the structural integrity of the shoe, the quality of the shoe is huge, especially for vintage resellers and curators. I'm not trying to pull a shoe and wear it out way more than it was initially when I first received that, because then that impacts the quality of the shoe and therefore what they can sell it for. Trying to take care of every pair of shoes the best I can. A lot of the time too, models find soles of shoes, bottoms of shoes, whether they're vintage or brand new, to be slippery, also depending on the runway that they're walking on. So creating some sort of like grip or texture on the bottom of the shoe is really ideal. Whether you bought the shoe and you own them and you can take like a knife or scissors and just like crisscross the bottom of the shoe and physically create that texture on the bottom of the shoe, perfect. But I normally cannot do that. So what I found as the best tape to do this is black masking tape. Typically bottoms of shoes are black. They can be red, they can be white, they could be cream, whatever it is. Ideally you have a tape to match that. If it's a runway show, people are going to see the bottom of the shoe pick up, and that's really important to remember. Sometimes that's hard to anticipate, but for a lot of the projects I've worked on, I know what the bottom of the shoes look like prior to the show, so I can prepare. What I like to do with this, if it's a slippy problem, to do like a bunch of different X's of the tape and kind of create like ridges and not put them down like fully smooth, so that I'm kind of creating bumps on the bottom of the shoe, so there is that kind of like traction without actually roughing up the bottom of the shoe or whatever it is. So creating some sort of like grip and texture on the bottom of the shoe with the ridges and crisscrosses and bumps of the tape is really helpful. And black masking tape, it sticks on, but it peels off really nicely. It doesn't take any of the bottom of the shoe off. I find this to be a very reliable tape that sticks when you need it to stick and that comes off when you need it to come off and have no issue. So I really enjoy this tape. I will link this exact one in the description. I'm going to tell you to avoid something like this. I'll show you kind of close up. So it's sticky on this side and it's this like rubberized sole, and it comes in these sheets. When I first found these sheets, I was like, perfect, this is gonna be my new like shoe tape and grip. It's perfect. This stuck so bad to the bottom of shoes, so bad. It also, this is just like, god damn it, melted. We were working on this particular music video outside on asphalt in like the piping hot summer sun, melted onto the bottom of the shoe. When I went to peel this off, it was just a melty, sticky mess. The amount of residue that was left on the heel was comical. And obviously we had to communicate that with the team. I was supposed to return this shoe, good as new, brand new vibes. Could not do that. Therefore, we had to discuss what the best way was to, you know, for me to make it up to them. I do keep this in my kit in case there's a shoe that I own that I don't mind altering, that needs more grip, whatever it is, then we can use this. Like, we are done with the pockets. So let's get into the main event. First thing that I see in here, that is right next to my good old sewing kit. These two kind of go hand in hand. I love this stuff so much. It's liquid stitch. It's saved my booty so many times. This stuff is awesome. You just let it dry for 30 minutes and it's literally liquid stitch. It's crazy good. I love it so much. Sewing kit, a needle and thread is always important to have. I have probably the world's most basic sewing skills, but as long as you know a little needle and thread, a basic stitch, then you're good to go. It is certainly a goal of mine to advance my sewing skills, but having this on set is super ideal. One thing that I don't have that I realized is tailor chalk to mark on garments where things need to be tailored, take it in, hemmed, whatever it is. I use that a lot when I used to assist celebrity stylist in college, and that was one of my first jobs, and we use that a lot, and I don't have it. I don't have to use it very often, but it's something good to write down, keep in mind. Then I keep a little baggie of sandwich bags. You know, you could use sandwich bags for anything, but I almost always use these for a model's personal jewelry. Let me tell you something. 3 things that you should have. Whoever is communicating to your models, communicate to your models. Please do not wear personal jewelry to the fittings, to the show, to the shoot, whatever it is. Personal jewelry is obviously, it's in the name, it's personal. So you sometimes people shower in it, people sleep in it, you don't even realize you're wearing it. But the amount, I've had girls wearing like 20 layered, teeny tiny dainty necklaces layered on, tons of rings, an anklet, a toe ring, earrings all the way from the lobe up to here, come in for their fitting. That is a fully styled out look that the photo needs to be exactly what it is on show day. So I can't have any of that personal jewelry in the photo and on the model. So it takes about like 10 minutes for them to take all the jewelry off. And then models leave the personal jewelry and I feel horrible because their grandma's ruby ring from it is now with me or it's now lost. And it just makes me so sad. So this and a Sharpie label, especially on show day when everybody's stuff is everywhere. Get a baggie, label it with your name, put all your personal jewelry in the baggie, put the baggie in your purse. That is one of the biggest pieces of advice. Please ask the models to leave all personal jewelry at home. A lot of the times when you ask that, people still wear personal jewelry, which is totally fine, but have the bags, have the bags, have the bags. And then the other 2 things to request from your models, nails. I feel like nails are always forgotten about, whether you need them to be manicured or not, just no nail polish at all. Please specify ahead of time. We would like the model's nails. And sometimes it's the agency to communicate this, but your team, you need to communicate it to the agency to communicate it to their model and their talent. No nail polish, or can you please get X color? Nail instructions need to be mentioned. And then lastly, ideally nude skin tone undergarments. That's ideal. We will get into how I have a ton of underwear in all different sizes and all different colors and shades, etc. on me at all times. Worst case scenario, someone comes in with a neon pink thong, I have it on me. But to request that everybody wear seamless skin tone underwear, it's ideal. It avoids you that step. So personal jewelry, nails, undergarments. Get that out of the way. Makes your life so much easier. Good old pair of scissors. I feel like I don't use these as much as I use my little ones, which I keep in my styling belt, but always good to have a big pair of scissors. Lint roller with a lint roller refill. Another miscellaneous little mention, it's just rubber bands. I have a little sandwich bag of rubber bands. I use these weirdly a lot, whether it's like a shoelace trick or keeping like laces high or cinching even a garment. Sometimes rubber bands are the way to go. I just like keeping them on me. You need to tap something on the rack. This is so not a necessity, but this is a belt hole puncher. I've actually used this for my personal closet and never for my styling. And these are all different sizes of holes for your belt, and this punches into the leather and it's awesome. And I keep it in my styling kit, but again, not a necessity at all. Let's talk about boobs. Big boobs. I need to stand up for this. No to these, yes to these. No to the flower little paper thin dinky ones that are gonna fold, and you're gonna see that. Yes to the rubberized cutlet. When we're talking cutlets, I really like this brand. They look like this. There are a bunch of them. They're so easy to keep track of because of these little cases. I will link these in the description. They're the best. Oftentimes when you're buying a packet of cutlets, these little flower ones will come. So I keep all of these just to have. I definitely prefer the silicone nipple covers over these. I got a lot of them. And then we have the boob lift tape. They come in bigger pads where you can do like a full lift with this. The thicker strips, there's thinner strips, literally mold and shape the chest however you need, depending on the garment, whatever it is. But you can literally create a bra with tape. It's really mind-blowing stuff. And all of these kind of tips and tricks with boob tape and lift tape I've learned from models, especially larger chested models where I'm not as large chested, so I don't have as much experience like, you know, molding and lift. So through experience and through working with people and whatever it is, I've slowly started to master the lift tape, and it's the best. Last thing in my kit that I don't really keep in my kit much anymore because I use something else now, but I do usually bring these, and then I do this trick all the time in my personal closet, but a satin or silk scarf to basically put over your head, and then you put on a shirt and nothing gets on the shirt, the garment, you protect your makeup, and you have a little face covering. And I think the satin and silk obviously is the slipperiest, so it just kind of slides right on. It's good for your hair so it doesn't like frizz everything up. But now I have disposable face coverings that I got for a job, and I have the box of them that I'll keep and use. But I think it's also great just to keep a scarf on you, and it's way more sustainable. That is ideal, but definitely face coverings, super huge to remember. That is pretty much everything that I keep in my kit. Now moving on to my styling belt, and then I will get into the additional things that I think are great to have, but are not necessarily necessary to being a stylist. Quickly, just touching on my styling belt, this I keep on my person and wear any and every job that I have. So on the belt itself, I keep a pair of each clip that I love. So the big binder clips, and then 2 of the big size and 2 of the small size of the clamp clips. Then my most used pocket is definitely the studded one. And then there's 2 zipper pockets. The biggest one is gonna go ahead and be packed to the tippity top with double-sided fashion tape. I have the Hollywood Fashion Secrets like little fashion tape container in there as well, but I keep them loose too, just to really grab and go. And then the small one is all safety pins, all different sizes, big, small, tiny, teeny, itty bitty baby. And then I have a bunch of these clear little elastics in there. These have definitely come in handy, so I have a bunch of those kind of floating around in here. But I do have a pair of tweezers, which I do end up needing a lot for certain things. Pulling a pulled thread through a sweater to kind of hide it, that is what I use these most for. Loose threads, things like that. And then the last thing in that little pocket, bandaids. Always good to have handy. The back of it is 1 more zip pocket, 2 little shout wipes. I have kept in the past a mini Tide pen in here, but it dried out, so I need to get a new one. Then my second most used little pocket right here is gonna have my little itty bitty scissors. I love these things. I use them all the goddamn time, all the time. I have a shoehorn, 2 of these little hair clips again, and then a little seam ripper, which doesn't have its cap on and really should. These also have a little like protector cap, but also don't know where that is, so there's also a seam ripper in my little mini sewing kit, but it's nice to keep this on me as well. And then lastly is this little pocket, and I just keep a, in the process of being used, lint roller, so it's kind of sticking to the belt, so I'm not even gonna pull that out, and then a brand new one, so a little backup lint roller. And then I forgot to mention this, a little measuring tape. And this I got at a little bodega. I also have one in my sewing kit as well. So that is my styling belt. I purchased my styling belt on Depop. I'll put a screenshot of the listing so you can look at all the hashtags, search names, and things like that to find a similar one if that's what you're on the hunt for. Searching something like grommet vintage utility belt, belt bag, studded vintage utility belt, you will find a ton. I have 3 of these bags at this point that I wear for style. That one stays as like my styling belt. I don't really take anything out or wear it for style, but I could. But at this point, it's just easier to keep it with everything in it. And that leads us to our last and final segment of like the extras, you know, going above and beyond, except for at least the undergarments, because undergarments I feel like are something that you really should have, but obviously comes out of your pocket at the end of the day. If people don't have budget, you are buying these undergarments and giving them away because you're not gonna ask for them back. So it's just collecting them over time. Like I tried to get undergarment sponsor for past shows and work with different people, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So sometimes you just have to supply it yourself. A bunch of different colors, all ideally seamless, bikini or thong. I keep all of them in here. And then I also have this plastic container of extras, and that's the rest of them are in that, and I keep that under my bed. I only kind of take what I think I need. And then ideally Spanx and shapewear, and if that's something you talk about, that's also very important to consider as a stylist, but that's obviously going to be a case-by-case basis. When I was a stylist full-time, I worked with a lot of different clients ranging in size, skin tone, etc., and we always kept a ton of hosiery on us, a ton of shapewear, a ton of tights, nylons, thigh highs in range of sizes, range of skin tones, and always had new ones to open because things would tear. In an ideal world, if you're a professional stylist, you know, you have more money, you have a studio, you have a styling closet, ideally you would have all those things. And then there's like adhesive thongs for like dresses with really high slits. I haven't had to encounter too much of that. Case by case basis, based on the look, we kind of pick underwear and undergarment and all of that. Like this Lady Liberty look, for example, that Soap was wearing, we got like 5 different pairs of underwear to try and ended up going with this like chainmail crystal diamond thong that she wore under the dress, which was so iconic. But we obviously had a gray version, a black version, a skin tone version. We didn't know what we were gonna end up liking, so may as well have everything to try, and that is the point of a style out. So we tried all of them at the style out and ended up doing that one. And then I have these beauty caps. There's also these like zip up, more mesh kind of beauty caps, face coverings, etc., to protect the model's face when they're trying clothing on, whether they're coming in for a fitting and they're wearing a personal makeup, or they got their makeup done for the show or the shoot, whatever, and they're doing an outfit change. These are great. They're disposable. You just pull them out. This is essentially a hairnet. Put the shirt over. You get the gist. Good to have these, especially for when you're dealing with a ton of models and you don't want to like share the same scarf. A disposable is sometimes the easier way to go, though it's not the most sustainable. So if you can avoid it, I would say avoid it, and I do best I can. I have a ton of unopened tights, kind of like I said, just building out my collection. Clean white socks, all different heights and lengths. I feel like that's super important. Having socks on you for models that maybe didn't come wearing socks and you're putting them in a boot, just having socks available and nylons available, super huge. Another kind of extra but luxurious thing to have as a stylist, and I just think comfort wise is really great, is having a robe and slippers. I have these like disposable slippers that I got off Amazon and I've used in the past. They're just like the hotel kind of dinky little slippers, but you know, models can be in the nude chilling barefoot for like hours on end, so at least giving them something to feel comfortable in is super important, and that does fall on you at the end of the day. So these slippers are really great. And then I have 2 robes. This like little silky dinky one I had got for a Dolce Vita shoot that I did anyways, so it's kind of just part of my styling closet now, so I always bring this robe in case anybody wants to use it. And then this is more of like our changing wardrobe robe, just because it's like cozy and it's warm. It's just this black cozy little furry robe. If the model needs a robie, they have one. This is kind of for like buy and return specific jobs, but a retag gun. I also have this for a closet sale that I've done in the past to tag things. Really not necessary, and I got this past year.
I forgot to say this, but a fabric shaver for pilling and knits especially is great.
I never really have to bring personal hangers. I've had to bring them for like certain style outs and projects and things, but for the bigger projects, usually the brands or the person that I'm working with will supply the hangers, which is really nice. Or the studio hangers, you're gonna need them for sure. An industrial steamer, like I said, that's a luxury. I wish I had my own. I don't, but ideally the studio or whoever we're working with is supplying an industrial steamer. The lamination sheets for printouts of each look is super great to have on the racks if you're doing that kind of shoot, as well as the flats or, you know, foam boards and push pins to then hang up all the looks, and the mood boards and all of that are super great. Again, production would maybe help you with this, but it really depends case by case basis. So always having those things at the ready are super nice. Another thing that's super great to have, especially if you're working with more luxury clients and you're working with a lot of fine jewelry, having jewelry trays, velvet trays, etc., that you can lay out and are used specifically for jewelry. We had these because we were working with fine jewelry for the Korean campaign that I was styling. The jewelry designer thankfully like brought her pieces of jewelry on the trays already. Jewelry trays are really great to have. That's something to consider going into a job if you're working with more fine jewelry, really dainty jewelry, just having that dedicated spot and area to ensure you're not gonna lose anything. And I also think bringing fabric or like a tablecloth, something like that, to put out on the table where you're laying out all your accessories is also nice. It just kind of elevates the space as well. If the tables are white and you know a lot of your jewelry is light, on the lighter side, then bringing a black tablecloth so that they stand out and you can see things better is sometimes helpful. The last thing, I usually just grab my own tub of CeraVe and my own Glossier body glow, but bringing lotion and body glow on set are super great. Usually the makeup artist will be doing the body makeup as well, so they'll cover, you know, body glow and lotion and things like that. But I think it's really great to bring that too as a stylist, just to have backup in case. And also, you know, you're working with your hands a lot, it's good to have lotion for yourself. Making sure the skin looks good, it's obviously the thing closest to the clothing, and so it helps elevate the look. And I'm a big fan of Glossier's body glow, body hero, this stuff. I love it. I bring this on set a lot and I use it personally all the time. Final last thing I want to talk about is actually packing. Ideally, you would have a set of garment bags that are your go-to that you use. Again, my first couple years throughout styling, when I was putting on my own shoots or doing smaller shoots for brands, etc., I would bring everything in like big tote bags and my suitcases. I can link a few of my favorites in the description. So garment bags, garment bag labels, and then dust bags. I have a crazy big container under my dresser of all these dust bags of shoes that I've purchased, real bags, things that were sent to me, things that were returned to me. Just throughout the years collecting dust bags, I just hold on to all my dust bags in that way and then reuse them when I'm packing for shoots and styling, gigs and things like that. So dust bags are super huge. Definitely hold on to them and start creating a collection. I do feel like a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to these just random things and bags that I'm always holding on to, but I do end up needing them, and you will end up needing them. And then for bigger things, suitcases are always great, but I also want to suggest, because I adore my Hulkin, is the Hulkin bag. The wheels turn like 360, which is so ideal. They have like two really great big handles, and then there's a lid that you can close down and then zip up so nothing's gonna fall out, and it just goes anywhere and everywhere with you. It's the best. I just have the black like patent one that my mom so kindly got me, and she calls it my Birkin, and it's my favorite thing ever. And it is my Birkin. I highly recommend if you are interested in, you know, getting a bigger bag to transport your styling goods. A Hulkin is really fabulous. Okay team, that's about it for me and all my styling bits and bobs. Again, this is everything that comes to mind and that again I have and use, but there's definitely a million things that, you know, I could add to make my life easier. This is just what I'm recommending. Again, if you have any suggestions, anything like that, please let me know. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will try to link good options and things that I find in the description. Some of this stuff I've purchased a while back or in person, so it's hard to link out. I will try to do my best to link all of this for you guys. I had so much fun filming this. I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely want to do more videos in my Styling 101 kind of series. So let me know if you have any ideas or anything you want me to dive into in that realm. Hope you have a lovely rest of your week. Thank you so much for watching. I truly adore you guys. I'm gonna put my Instagram here and my TikTok as well if you want to check me out over there. I love you all so much, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye guys!